Oh my God, great. You want to move to Seattle? That's awesome, but you probably don't know where to start. So I got you. Like many Seattleites, I'm also a transplant. I'm a Philly, Jersey gal who moved to Seattle in 1988. And wow, the city has changed a lot in 34 years. Everything from Seattle becoming a tech hub to passing marriage equality to massive growth. I mean, at one point, I think we had 62 active cranes in the skyline. Crazy. And being a newbie to Seattle, it's not as easy as it was in the 90s, trust me. As a realtor, I meet people all the time who are moving to the city and experiencing all this craziness for the first time. Well, today in this video, I'm going to give you a true insider's guide to what you need to know about moving to Seattle. Yes, it's a long video. I've been here for a long time and I got a lot to say. So stay with me and you definitely will feel more confident about moving to Seattle than you did 10 minutes ago. Okay, let's get to it. Number 1, finding your coffee vibe. Okay, this is key to moving to Seattle. Did you get a cup of coffee yet? Oh, here's my cup of coffee. I can't really start until there's coffee. Coffee is ingrained in Seattle's culture, whether you like it or not. And true Seattleites know that there's more to Seattle's coffee scene than the big siren. Finding your coffee vibe and your favorite spots in Seattle are kind of part of the initiation or indoctrination. Try as many spots as you can find until you find your faves. One of my favorite coffee spots is Cafe Hagen. There's one in South Lake Union, there's one in Lower Queen Anne, and in Upper Queen Anne. They make an amazing cortado, and their pastries are just a little bit of heaven. And if you want more coffee suggestions, you should check out the Vintage Team Diva video we did about all the coffee shops on Capitol Hill. Thankfully, most of them survived the pandemic. Tip number 2. Okay, tip number 2 is about safety in Seattle, and this is a sticky subject for me. Some people, not you, but some folks use words like safe as code for racially profiling certain neighborhoods or locations. Safe is a very loaded word. I mean, I'm from Philly, and you may be from Montana, so our concept of safe may be incredibly different. The reality is everyone wants to live in a safe city and a safe neighborhood. Seattle is a major metropolitan area and it has similar issues to other major cities, especially during the pandemic. The Seattle Times did just recently release an article with details about how crime in the city has actually dropped by 18%. My advice, get out and explore as many of Seattle's neighborhoods as possible. Building community with your neighbors and local businesses and fully funding services for those who are most vulnerable is the best way to create safe neighborhoods. Which leads me to tip number 3, neighborhoods. Everyone we know who is moving to Seattle wants to know about our neighborhoods, and Seattle has so many, like 78 to be exact. Each one is distinctive and absolutely fabulous in their own special way. Some of my favorite neighborhoods are Seward Park, where I live, White Center, where Roy lives, Capitol Hill, where Rocky lives, and Queen Anne, where Hannah lives, and Ballard, where lots of people we know live. Our website is one of the most comprehensive neighborhood pages in the city, so check it out. And we also have a whole playlist on YouTube focusing on Seattle's great neighborhoods with guides to go along. Next up, tip number 4, sports. Hey, if you haven't already guessed, Seattle is a sports-loving city, from local dodgeball leagues to winning WNBA Seattle Storm, and we're pretty hardcore fans. I mean, the Sounders, the Mariners, the new hockey team, the Kraken, all have devout followers. I mean, the Seahawks fans call themselves the 12s, and they even have their own flag flying at the top of the Space Needle. The 12s are so hardcore, I have to caution my clients moving here from the Bay Area and Chavi's family to please not wear their 49ers gear in public during football season. Now me, I love my Seahawks, but I'm more of an arts fan. Which brings us to tip number 5, arts. Historically, Seattle has been an incredible city to incubate new artists, from amazing music venues like the Showbox, the Neptune, and the Crocodile, to avant-garde theater spaces like On the Boards, ACT, and 12th Avenue Arts. Seattle has been the birthplace of new music genres and new musicals and everything in between. I mean, we're also the home of Cornish College, whose list of renowned alumni and faculty is pretty long. We also have amazing ballet and opera companies at McCall Hall and symphony at Benaroya Hall. More of a Broadway show fan? Well, come check out the 5th Avenue Theater. Chavinara actually season ticket holders, so if you need a Les Mis fix, you can call me. Also, if you're moving to Seattle and love concerts, you will want to see a show at the recently opened Climate Pledge Arena. Yes, Climate Pledge Arena, the most progressive and sustainable concert venue in the country. I recently just saw Lizzo there and it was amazing. You could bleep that. And where else than Seattle can you find a venue named Climate Pledge? Which is a perfect segue to tip number 6, the weather, a subject we really can't avoid talking about. When you're moving to Seattle, best to get some honest info about the weather. You know, it's January right now, it's rainy, it's windy, we might get some snow, and just so you know, if we do get snow, the whole city will shut down, and that's okay. We all mostly work from home now anyway. Spring and fall? That could be wet and warm or sunny and dry, just depending on the Niño-Niña situation. And either way, those are great times to go out and catch a show at one of those venues I mentioned back in tip number 5, or suit up in your REI gear and take a hike at one of our amazing parks, which I'll talk more about in tip number 9. Or maybe rent a hot tub boat and take a soak and a float around Lake Union. Yep, hot tub boats are a thing here. And then there's summer, baseball, barbecues, biking, boating, all the bee activities. Basically, summer in Seattle is glorious. Oh, and take a tip from this local. This is not Paris. Do not buy an umbrella. No one carries an umbrella in Seattle. Now we get to talk about tip number 7, my favorite subject, queer Seattle. You know what else is glorious besides Seattle's summers? Seattle's drag scene. Seattle is the town where Jinx Monsoon and Ben Dillicrem hone their drag skills, and there are so many more great artists who call this awesome city home. Seattle may have its faults, but hands down, it is one of the most queer-friendly cities in the world. Trust me. And as one of the top LGBTQ plus real estate teams in Seattle, you know, we know queer. Another fun fact, some of the best drag queens in the city, Cookie Couture, Old Witch, Bobby Joe Blessings, and Sylvia O'Stafermore are also diva dwellers. Yep, at Team Diva, we love our drag and we love our drag queen clients. To see some of these fab queens in action, check out the Comeback in Soto, Crumb Work in downtown, the Skylark Lounge in West Seattle. Oh, and please don't forget Bacon Strip at Jules May in Georgetown. And of course, there's also tons of great venues to see drag in Capitol Hill, which is still the de facto gayborhood of Seattle, and where we divas got our start. If you want to know more about Seattle's queer drag scene, well, now you know who to call. Time for tip number 8, schools. Seattle attracts a lot of families who really want their kids to grow up in the city. One of the questions we get all the time from new folks is about the local schools. Just so you know, we are big believers in public school here at Team Diva. We fought really hard to increase education funding at the state level for our communities. Choosing a public school is incredibly personal and goes way beyond those great schools' ratings. We always advise our clients to visit different schools before making a decision. Last year, we had a client who wanted to find a school where their trans child would be supported and affirmed. No rating will tell you if that school provides the right learning environment for your child. Regardless of the school you choose, we really encourage folks to get involved and make sure the school is addressing your kiddos' needs as well as the needs of kids with less resources. Tip number 9, parks. Every weekend you will find us walking the Diva dogs through old growth forest at Seward Park. I just did a video about South Seattle and Seward Parks, and man, those ducks had a lot to say. Seward Park is just one of the many wondrous parks in Seattle. Our parks provide folks with not just beautiful spaces and views, but with all kinds of fun activities. Fly a kite at Gasworks, hike through lush greenery to amazing sound views at Discovery Park or Car Cake Park, go lawn bowling at Woodland Park, or enjoy a swim at Magnuson Park. And we even have a Hats and Boots Park in Georgetown. There's also numerous dog parks across the city where your furry friends can frolic off-leash with other furry friends. Parks are kind of our thing in Seattle. Last but not least, tip number 10, bookstores we love. Okay, why are we talking about books? Well, I bet you didn't know that in 2017, Seattle was named a UNESCO City of Literature. We are big readers here in Seattle, full of introverts. I know that I have at least 3 to 5 books on my nightstand right now. And despite being the home of Amazon, we still have almost 30 independent bookstores in the city. Now, I'm a big fan of my neighborhood bookstore, Third Place Books in Seward Park. But when I'm on Capitol Hill, I always head to Seattle's most well-known bookstore, Elliott Bay. I can never leave there without buying at least one book. We also are surprisingly home to one of the top 10 most radical bookstores in the country, Left Bank Books, which has been operating as a collective since 1973. Okay, so there's our top 10 tips, but one last tidbit before you go. I would be a really bad local if I did not talk about the Seattle freeze. This is the perception that this is a really hard city to make friends. I mean, honestly, Seattle is just a choose-your-adventure type of place. Basically, we're a city full of introverts, meaning you have to use your best extroverted self to get out there and find friends. But once you find one person in a community, you suddenly have dozens. Get tickets to a show, join a dodgeball team, or adopt a dog. We really love dogs in Seattle too. Well, there you have it. If you want more information, we have a great guide that you can download by going to teamdivarealestate.com, and the link is in the show notes. Or if you're really trying to decide if moving to Seattle is right for you, just give me a call. Seriously, I am an East Coast Italian. I love to chat. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Team Diva on the socials. This is Kim with Team Diva at Coldwell Banker Bain saying ciao for now. Coffee.